Hello and welcome to episode 4 of my Griefer playthrough. Please ignore the fact that I no longer have a home and I now just have a weird dome at spawn. For some reason I decided to rebuild my spawn base. I don't know why. To be completely honest, I did actually do this a while ago and then promptly forgot. So it was nice logging into the world and seeing that my base was not there. It's okay, I solved the issue though. Fun fact, this is one of the first times I actually used actuators in one of my builds. Because I forgot to show it in the last episode, here's this little desert town I made. It's not my best build, but I don't really care because it's functional. Anyway, here's my house now that it's done. I added little buttons on the glass with actuators so that I could serve as kind of like a door, except some enemies can actually break down doors, but they can't break down actuators, so I'm nice and safe and lovely. As a follow-up from the last episode, I haven't really decided to add too many more rules that are really set in stone, but I will tell you these two things. One, I will not be using melee weapons as much, as in the pickaxes and axes, because that's just kinda cheating, I guess. Two, I am not allowed to break my sand blocks that I place. There will probably be a bit of leeway, like if a bomb blows it up I don't have to stop the series, etc. But yeah, I hope it'll actually make this more of a challenge. Well, without further ado, let's actually play the game. In my current point in progression, now's a good time to go to hell to... Wow, okay. Now is a good time to go to hell to prepare an arena for the Wall of Flesh. For that, I'll need bombs, as both weapons and as deleting of blocks, their intended purpose. Something I'm actually trying out, and something that I was able to unlock by fishing in lava, is the dry bomb. They have 4 variants. There's dry bomb, water bomb, lava bomb, and honey bomb. They're like normal bombs, but when they explode, they spread their respective liquid, with the dry bomb spreading air. My favorite liquid. The good thing about them is, when they contact liquids, they actually explode instantly, meaning that in hell, where the ground is made of lava, it actually serves as a decent weapon, especially since the sandgun quickly piles up sand. It's lovely. Also, yeah, ignore me mining the sand block just now. Yeah, that was... Yeah, luckily that didn't last long, because I found out a good strategy to get rid of the sand without getting rid of the sand. It may not seem like much, but trust me when I say that I felt so proud when I realized I could do that, and that was me technically not breaking the rules. Just let me have my moment, please. Work on the hell bridge was going great, until I realized that I don't need a hell bridge. You see, I had noticed that the sand projectiles couldn't go through platforms, at least not when I was shooting them on top of the platform and they would land on the platform. And so I conveniently remembered that my Terraria Bark boots let me walk on any liquid, including lava, and, just in case I accidentally dip beneath the lava surface, give me 7 seconds of lava immunity. So I could just skip making a bridge, and I don't have to fear running away from the boss and then suddenly bumping into a little sand. Anyway, once I reached near the end of hell, I decided to throw in the guide voodoo doll and summon the boss. I hope you enjoy one of my favourite boss fights in Terraria. just like that, although I almost died at the end, I was able to deal the finishing blow to the boss, and plunge my world into hard mode. Almost immediately after winning, I checked my map to see where the Hallow and Corruption emerged in my world. If you didn't know, after you defeat the Wall of Flesh, this sort of V shape appears in your world, one of the sides being either the Corruption or Crimson, whichever your world has, and the other being the Hallow, a new biome in hard mode. Although these biomes spreading to your areas isn't too crucial, and as long as it's the Hallow, it's not too bad, I was still checking, because I always overthink it and think it's a really bad thing if the Corruption and Hallow spread too far. Which, I mean, it kind of is. But I think this playthrough I'm gonna try and stop that feeling. What if I just give in to the spread? I mean, it's literally free griefing. And there's actually an NPC that lets you check how much of your world are those respective biomes. So why don't I just protect my spawn and everything else can just turn into the Corruption and Hallow, I don't really care. In terms of challenge for this challenge run, hard mode is actually way more difficult than you'd think. Usually you get some really easy weapon upgrades, but I don't get any weapon upgrades until about 3 or 4 more bosses. For now I'm stuck with Dynamite, which is good, but I have to time it, and actually it's not all that good because lots of bosses fly now, and I'm stuck with the sandgun, which is good, but it's starting to become kinda bad. Right now I'm destroying demon altars to get special ores in my world, so I can at least upgrade my armor. Mining hard mode ores is never really unique, but I find it decently fun. Using a molten pickaxe you can mine palladium, which you can turn into a palladium pickaxe. Using that palladium pickaxe you can mine orichalcum, which you can turn into an orichalcum pickaxe, which you can then use to mine titanium. I was aiming to get titanium armor, but it turned out to not be too good. Its set bonus is you have a bunch of little orbs spinning around you that damage enemies when they come really close, but since I'm throwing bombs and doing range damage, that doesn't really matter. Pre 1.4 update, it used to be overpowered though, and I'm happy they nerfed it. It used to have a special armor ability which let you just straight up dodge an attack, like it did no damage to you if you were constantly damaging an enemy, which is just a bit powerful, just a little bit. They moved it to a different armor set a bit later in the game though, so it's not completely out of the game. Also yes, if you did notice, the Hallow actually overlapped my elevator. It's better than the Corruption doing so not complaining. One of my favourite parts about hard mode? You gain the ability to shred through the earth incredibly quickly with the new pickaxe upgrades. It's just satisfaction, endless satisfaction. Satisfying until you mine into a spider cavern. That spider killed me in 3 hits. As well as protecting my spawn from the Hallow and the Corruption, I'm also protecting it from bombs. Though I'm not protecting my base, I'm just praying that I don't accidentally throw an explosive on it. I am using these dungeon bricks to line the ground. Obviously if I blow up the ground, the surface will get gradually more and more unflat and all bumpy and I won't be able to walk on it properly. So using these dungeon bricks, 1, stops the Corruption Hallow spreading on the surface, and it also lets me do things like this. I can use explosives, they can stick to a flat surface, and it's pretty good. It's in no way overpowered or powered, but it is better than the alternative. Most of my early hard mode adventures were me just collecting materials. The sandgun was pretty good in dealing with enemies, especially with multi-segmented enemies like worms or long dragon, but in other tightly confined spaces I had to resort to other methods. Anyway, with that out of the way, I actually wanted to defeat my first hard mode boss. Since I had a weapon that infinitely pierced, I figured it would be easy to try to destroy her. A worm enemy. Also, I will clarify, I did use the ice rod there. Even though it's a weapon, that's the only time I use it. I actually trashed it after doing it that one time. Yeah, but I'm not actually using it because although it does create blocks, they disappear after a few seconds, so it's not permanently altering the world. Okay. This is the single worst fight I've ever had with this boss. It spawns in a bundle, which is awesome because my sand infinitely pierces. But the destroyer lets out little laser shooting probes when it gets hit. So every single time those segments got hit, it had a chance of spawning a probe. So thus, I shot it 3 times, and like a million probes just spawned. They were really annoying to take out with the sandgun, and the destroyer wasn't staying on the ground enough for me to use dynamite, so I ended up perishing quite quickly. After rage quitting and entering the world a bit later, trust me when I say I really thought that strategy would work, I decided to grind a few more materials to get better accessories and buff potions and stuff like that, so that I had a bit of a better chance against the destroyer and the other mechanical bosses. Also, something that I forgot to mention, before the destroyer fight I changed out my ebon sand to pearl sand, the hallow equivalent of sand. While spreading the biomes is something I'm completely fine with doing, as long as it's not near my NPC areas, I really rather spread the hallow than the corruption. Well, on the topic of me telling a naughty fib, I actually am fine with spreading the hallow near my NPC areas. If you did see earlier, the corruption actually spawned pretty close to my NPC houses in the ice biome. Or should I say, the corruption spawned kinda close. But it spreads fast. In fact, when it turns to hard mode, both the hallow and corruption spread twice as fast as they did previously. So I went about putting some pearlstone in the walls of the caverns, just to let it spread it a little bit. Turns out, the bottomless lava bucket's actually really good for farming. Because, you know, if you need to farm enemies for a long time and the sand will start to pile up and there's no longer any space for enemies to be. Plus, I can always soak up the lava with my super absorbent lava sponge or whatever it's called, I don't know. I fished too long in lava, I think I got every single drop possible. Fun fact, whenever you break a demon altar, there's a chance that either a block of ebonstone/crimstone or pearlstone will appear in the underground. Somewhere. That's right, just somewhere. How non-specific. I'm sure I will not face the repercussions of this fact anytime soon. Well, that's about it for the actual content of the video. I of course fished to get lots of materials, but that's not really what I call the actual content of the video, it's just me fishing. And so, to end off the video while I fish, I wish you all a happy birthday. I literally do not care if it's your birthday, I am wishing you a happy birthday.